Welcome to Angel and the Wiz.
Yes, she's the angel, I'm the other one. I don't know if you...
Okay. You've got that look in your eyes. It usually means a tangent.
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay, this is the thought. You have pets. You're into your cats. You're a cat rescuer, okay?
Cats.
And I have pets. I have a pet story, okay? But it's like from left field.
Okay.
Okay. Now, years ago, long before you were born,
Okay.
there was a gentleman named Jerry Jeff Walker.
Okay.
He was a singer-songwriter. And he wrote a song called Mr. Bojangles. All right? And for years, everybody just assumed that the song, Mr. Bojangles, was about a guy named Bill Robinson, who used to live, he was in movies around Shirley Temple time. He wore a derby hat, and he was Mr. Bojangles. That was his name. And even Sammy Davis Jr., in those days when Sammy Davis was around, he used to do a bit as a tribute to Mr. Bojangles, Bill Robinson, with the derby hat and all that stuff. But it turns out, you see, that that's not the Bojangles this song is about.
It's about a cat?
No, it's about a dog.
Oh.
It's a pet song.
Oh.
It's a pet song. Nobody, you would never suspect that it's a pet song. Now, I have the song. Wait, I have the song.
Okay.
I'm going to do a duet with Jerry Jeff Walker.
Right now?
Yes, right now. I have the song. I have the song. Talk to me. Okay. Now, I queued this all up. This is on YouTube. Now, I'm going to sing you the song with him. And then when it's over, I'm going to tell you the story.
Okay.
It's really, really, really cool. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to try. But it just... I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you in worn-out shoes, silver hair and ragged shirt and baggy pants, the old soft shoe. He jumped so high, he jumped so high, and then he lightly touched down. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. I met him in a cell in New Orleans. I was down and out. He looked to me to be the eyes of age, and he spoke right out. He talked of life, he talked of life. He laughed at the secretary. Bum, bum, bum. He said the name Bojangles and he danced a lick across the cell. He danced his hands, does his dance, and he jumped so high, and he clicked his heels. He let go a laugh, he let go a laugh. He drawn back his clothes all around. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance now. You've been all set up, now watch. He danced for those in minstrel shows and county fairs throughout the South. He spoke through tears of 15 years how his dog and him traveled about. His dog up and died, he up and died. And after 20 years he still grieves. He said, I dance now at every chance in honky-tonks for drinks and tips, but most of the time I spend behind these county bars, 'cause I drinks a bit. He shook his head as he shook his head. I heard someone ask him, please, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, Mr. Bojangles, dance. So dig. Here's this song. It becomes a really popular song. And it's really about this guy. Now, Jerry Jeff Walker, who wrote the song, at this point in his life hadn't written this song. He was not a big popular, had money and stuff. He was arrested for public intoxication down in New Orleans.
Okay.
Okay. And right before this happened, in July 4th, there was a big murder. So the cops went around, they took all homeless people off the streets. And in those days, the cells were still segregated. So black with black and white with white. He's in this cell, and they're sitting around talking, and he meets this guy, Mr. Bojangles. And they're telling the story, they're talking about and all this stuff. And when he finally gets to talking about his dog, it gets so sad in the cell. Now, Jerry Jeff Walker can tell now that this happened 20 years ago, and this guy is still totally crushed, because for 15 years this was his other, his significant other, okay? And he and the dog got run over. Okay, my guess is that Mr. Bojangles was the dog's name, okay? And either he felt guilty about what happened or whatever, and this was one way to keep the dog alive, to call himself Mr. Bojangles when he got arrested, okay? And that's why I thought especially in the song when he says, he said the name Bojangles and he danced, you know, it was like, so anyway, the short version is, and so what happens in this song, it actually transpired in this cell. And they all got so sad that they called out and said, come on, dance, let's go. So it's just a pet story, but it just shows, I mean, the impact that our pets, that pets have on us. I mean, some people don't understand, if they don't have pets, what a member of the family
they are.
A pet is.
They absolutely are. I used to make fun of people that would dress up their pets. I mean, but like,
not in a malicious way, but
yeah. I mean, but like the people who would dress up their pets in the crazy outfits and parade them around town and carry their chihuahuas in this little Gucci bag. Right. But I do dress up my animals at Halloween, and they all have their little Christmas outfits. I do, because it's cute. It's cute, and it's fun to watch their faces when they do it. But they're part of the family. They, when I lost 3 animals. They died, and it was very sad, very traumatic too when they died.
Now, at one time?
Not at one time. No. It was. One died Christmas Day, 2009.
Holy smoke. And
then one died September 2010, and then another one died in November 2010.
And was there any related cause? I mean, it's just because I know you rescue these animals, they might have problems ahead of time.
One died from feline leukemia, complications from that.
Okay.
The other one died from complications of lymphoma.
Okay.
And the other one died from what's called FIP.
Okay.
And I can't really, I don't know.
Don't know what the letters stand
I don't know
for.
what they stand for because they're really big words.
Okay.
But it was complications from that disease.
Now, here, let me ask you. See, I'm married.
Mm-hmm.
I am. Anybody that watches the show knows that I am soft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am soft. Now, because I've been blessed to be married.
You're soft unless you're talking about Barack Obama. Let's put it that way.
He doesn't deserve it. Sure you want to go there?
No.
I was headed to the dogs. If you want to go to Barack,
No,
we can
let's
go
talk about
because
the
he's
dogs.
destroying the country.
The
And I'm ready.
dogs, the dogs.
Okay. So the new movie coming out is Undefeated. We're going to get a DVD. We'll look at it. I'll give it to you so you can look at it yourself.
Okay.
Then we'll talk about it. We won't go there.
The dogs.
Okay. The dogs. Back to the dogs. So we've had a couple of times during the 27. We were married 27 years. Okay. First 3 don't count. They were practice. Number 4, 27 years.
Okay.
And I have never, you reach a point with a dog especially, and maybe with the cats too, I guess. You reach a point where they have to go. I mean, they have to be put to sleep. They're at a point.
Never put an animal to sleep.
Well, I've had. What about the ones that were sick? You wait for them to die?
Well, when I said they died from complications, one died during a procedure. She was having a blood transfusion, and something happened during the transfusion. She had a seizure or something and died. Okay. The other one was getting a treatment for the lymphoma, and there was a complication during that treatment and died. Water got in the lungs or something.
Okay.
It was part it was doctor error.
Really?
I think.
Okay.
I should say they were doing this procedure on a kitten, and it's
Okay.
very common that they do it on an adult cat. So
Right.
it was almost a 2-year-old kitten, very tiny.
Right.
It was a small kitten,
Mm.
small for that age, I should say.
Right.
And so when they did the procedure, everything was smaller,
Right.
so it was more room for error.
Oh, okay.
So during the procedure, some water filled up in the lungs, and then the cat developed pneumonia and died. But it was fast, like it was, within 3 days.
Okay.
So.
Well.
And then the third one
Right.
died in my arms at home.
Oh, see, I couldn't do that. But I'll tell you. Now I've
But
always
my rule has been.
Right.
If they still maintain control of their body functions,
Right.
then I keep them all, because.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I can understand why you would.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sometimes. Well, like I have a cat, Lucy. She's black. She's black and white. We call her a little Puerto Rican princess because she's got this. If you look at her, and she's got this little like sassy attitude about her. She's
Right.
so sweet. She's sweet, but she's like, don't go there. You can
Right.
see. You can see
Right.
like if she was a human, her head would be moving and the arm would be. Anyway, we were recommended to put her down 2 years ago.
Wow.
Because she had become ill,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a cold, but she just wasn't recovering fast enough,
Right.
and we didn't know why. And
Right.
then we learned that she had feline leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just, it just was going to take longer for her body to heal. We had to be persistent,
Right.
and she's still here.
Wow.
She's still here,
Wow.
and she's healthy and active, and you wouldn't know. So, I think sometimes the vets recommend that because they say, well, we don't want to put you through that financial struggle because it did cost us about $2,000
Right,
to get her
I
healthy
understand.
again. Or there's no guarantee that we're going to spend the money and it's going to work.
Right.
When Thomas, who's the one that died in my arms, that Monday I took him to the vet because I saw he was slowing down, and they said, we really recommend you put him down. And I said, I'm not going to do that because
Right.
he's got his body functions.
Right.
And I didn't. And that last day I called into work, and he did everything that he loved that day. And then he hid, and I picked him up, and an hour later he died.
Well, I can only tell you that. Now I had, with Tara, or Gypsy, I guess it was Gypsy. Gypsy, she was going into epileptic fits and stuff like that. And so she didn't no longer have that control, okay? Now, and the point that I was trying to make before is that usually Tina handles that.
Mm-hmm.
She will go in. Oh, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Maybe
now,
it's a Cancer thing.
I don't know.
Cancer is in the zodiac sign.
Well, that may be true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. All I know is that when I went with Gypsy, you know, she was in the car. Mm-hmm. She was in the back of the car, and the doctor came out to the car, so we didn't have to carry her and everything else. I went through that, and everything. We took her home and buried her. And with Bear, we had a dog that somebody took from a shelter.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Akita.
Mm-hmm.
It can be vicious, okay? And the owner had problems with it, and they brought it back to the thing to be killed, to be put to sleep. Now, my mother-in-law, who works at this place, had one of her people bring the dog out in his arms like this, cute little, wonderful, beautiful Akita,
yeah.
paraded him out there, and there's Tina and I, you know. Now, you're never going to convince me she did not do that on purpose, because she knew we took that dog. Now, we did. Now, we saved that dog's life for a few years.
Yeah.
And then, but I tell you two things. You know, parents are never going to let their kids watch the show again, ever. The past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to lose.
We talked about bringing life into the world, now we're talking about taking it out.
Okay. I have two things that sit with me when it comes to this, when you're talking about that dying in his arms. I lived in Greenwich Village on 8th Street, and I used to walk my dogs, and I would walk them out. And I never used leashes. This was the 70s, early 70s. So, and I was the wizard then, you know, blue hat, everything, you know, and I walked with dogs, and we went down to Washington Square Park and never go out. And one evening, we were in the house, and I guess there was other people over, and I have to tell you that I was always with somebody, you know. I don't know exactly how this all transpired, but the next thing I know, somebody's knocking me on the door, and they're telling me, "Wiz, one of your dogs got hit by a car." So I go down the street. Now, this is 8th Street in Greenwich Village. It's totally packed. There's totally people everywhere. And there's little Wolf laying on the road. And somebody said to me that taxied him on purpose. I don't know if he did or not. All I know is when I got there, he was still alive. And I sat there with him. I'm not doing that again.
No, it's
that
hard.
was really hard. Now let's add guilt to the mix. Okay, this is the most horrible one.
Yeah, I felt guilt when the first two died, because I wasn't there when they died.
Oh well, I let me tell you, this one will always be with me. I'm kind of getting it out now, but I mean, this one will always be with me. I had a dog named Bear. He was a beautiful, long-haired black German Shepherd. We had gotten him from somebody. He was big and strong and everything else, and when we met him, he came running. He was full grown when we got him. He was terrifying, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, a guy, if he wanted to kill you, he could do it. He was big and strong. Again, we loved him. He was just a perfect, wonderful dog. I used to tell Tina, keep him on the floor. I used to leave the house, she got him on the couch. I mean, it was just, he was that kind of wonderful dog.
Yeah.
Now, we got a dog from a kennel because we wanted to have another dog for Bear, so he wouldn't be alone. Okay? Now, Bear did not have all his shots. We brought the dog home from the kennel. It was supposed to be totally fine. And he wasn't eating. But he must have ate a little bit. And to this day, I'm not even going to be able to tell us. I remember taking the food from that dog's dish and giving it to Bear to show that one dog to eat. And Bear ate that food and it killed him. And I never got over that. I will never get over that. You know, someday I'm going to go to heaven. I'm going to meet Bear. I'm going to apologize to him. But to know, I mean, I still have the image in my mind of that spoon going to the dog. And he ate it right up because he was just the most wonderful dog in the world. And it was just the most horrible thing. Anyway, so I don't know what that has to do with anything. But so it's just, I guess what I'm saying is I could understand.
Right,
if you didn't have anybody but a dog.
Yeah, or a cat, and you lose
or a cat,
them.
And you lose them. That it hurts.
It hurts.
Just
yeah.
tears you right up. Whoa! So.
And there's a lot of guilt. There was a lot of guilt when the first two died, and what made it worse is that the co-owner was out of the country as well, and so it's all your fault. It's all your fault. And it's
now,
like,
what do you mean you weren't there?
I wasn't in the hospital when they died.
Oh, but that's
you know?
different. You think they're in the hospital? They're under protection of Well, maybe not protection. Listen, don't you assume? I would assume that they were trying to do the best they could.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, but it's a guilt thing that you weren't there to say goodbye.
Oh, I can understand that, but that's not. You can't. I would say to you, you can't feel guilt for that because they were in a hospital with the doctors. They were trying to do the thing. You wouldn't have been in the room anyway. They would have just walked out and told you. I mean, I understand. Believe me, I understand. You know what I mean? So, boy, what a bunch of mushes we are.
Yeah, we are.
You know, but that's how you feel because you really bond with them. So now I've had wonderful experiences with my other dogs. You've had wonderful experiences with your other cats. I mean, so we don't want to go, completely.
Yeah, I think a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, it was all about my cats. With Gandalf. Yeah, Gandalf.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. See, so.
Gandalf and his seizures.
Okay, wow. So, here.
Who had another one the other night, and so I still haven't slept for like 2 days again.
But no, isn't there? So what do you do? Is there?
I give him. He's got to have his phenobarbital levels retested.
Right.
Because it's an anti-seizure drug, so if the body is metabolizing it too quickly, that means that the drug is not staying in the system long enough.
Right.
So he'll probably have to have his medication changed.
Okay.
There needs to have like a certain level in the bloodstream. I don't know. It's supposed to be like 10 or 12 or something like that. You know, there's a range.
Sure.
And if it's too high, it's too much and could kill him. If it's too low, it's not being an effective drug. So when he first had seizures and they gave him the drug, it worked for a little bit, but then the seizures were happening every day again.
Right.
And it turned out that his level was too low.
Okay.
His level was like a 6 or 5 or something ridiculous where the doctor's like, yeah, it's kind of like no effect on him. I'm like, you think?
Oh, sure, right.
Really? So now he's starting to get the seizures again more frequently, so I have to get the levels retested.
Now, let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. You rescue cats, or whatever, most of your cats, all your cats are rescued. Mm-hmm. Now, how many do you have now? 6. Okay, so now, how does it work in your house? I mean, if you lose one, do you replace it? Do you bring one? Well, you know what I always used to do? As the dogs got old, I got the puppy so they could learn from the adult. And the adults, I haven't trained a dog. All the dogs I have been trained by the dogs that were there. Teach them to go out, they teach them where to go, they teach them what to do. Yeah. Bear learned everything from Wolf. And I've told everybody on the TV about what a great brother Wolf was when you go out and bring his brother in who couldn't hear anymore. People go out and get him and bring him in. What a dog! But so how do you determine? Or it's not. It's
not a replacement.
Right.
I help the animals in need.
Okay.
6 is my limit because I'm going to have 6 full-grown adult cats in the house, and that's a lot. And 2 of them are just big. They're just big cats.
Now, these cats that you rescue, do they all have something wrong with them, or no? Are some okay?
There's 2 that are okay.
Okay.
But they've assimilated into the house. You can't take them away. It's like ripping them from their brothers and sisters.
No, I would never say that. I just mean, but you actually have a couple of cats that are just okay.
I have 2 that are normal.
Okay.
Sort of.
Sure.
But I've got one. Gandalf let me start. We'll start with Gandalf. Gandalf has epilepsy.
Okay.
We don't know why. It's developed since January. He could have had it his entire life and
just
manifested in different ways. And then now it's the full seizures. So Gandalf has epilepsy. Manny has feline leukemia.
Okay.
And has seizures as a result of being hit by a car prior to us owning him.
Okay.
Lucy has feline leukemia.
Okay. Now, they didn't catch from each other?
No.
Okay.
Gato has feline AIDS.
Okay.
Callie is normal, no disease. She suffers a little bit from separation anxiety.
Okay.
And she's very, very skittish.
Okay.
So if new people are in the house, she won't.
She don't come out.
She'll hide. Boma is probably the most normal cat I have.
Right.
He's a big cat. He eats. and he sleeps.
Right. He does cat stuff.
He eats and he sleeps.
That's it.
That's it. And then when he wants to be pet, you have to give, when he wants to be touched in love, he wants to be touched in love, and he will climb up in your lap, and he will give you, and he will just sit there. I mean, I woke up this morning, he wanted to be pet, to wake me up, he sat right on his chest. This is a 12-pound, 13-pound cat that was like right on my diaphragm.
Right.
I couldn't breathe.
Right.
I woke up to going, and I'm looking at him, and I have to pick him up and move him. But he's also very skittish. So Callie and Bulma have no diseases, but they're pretty scared.
Right.
They're the biggest. Bulma's the biggest scaredy cat I've ever met.
Right.
I mean, he's just a chicken bleep.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
seriously,
Right.
you could sit on another cat and win the fight, and
Right.
he just
Wow.
doesn't do it. So.
Well, this has been. I'll tell you, boy, these past couple of shows have really put us in solid with parents every place. This is like Disney's dinosaur movie. They put out a movie where the main character's going to die. And I can just see the parents saying to the kids, no, I'm not taking you to see this movie. Because the advertisement showed a meteor's coming in, and that means that everything there is going to die. Okay? And now I'm going to take little Johnny, little Janie off to see the movie so we can watch the main character die, and they'll go through all... No, I don't think so. I think that's why that movie died. Because
hey, but it makes a good ride, right?
It makes a good ride, but I will share something with you. For those of you that, if you ever go down to Florida and Walt Disney World, there is a ride called Dinosaur. And I will tell you that when the ride was originally opened up, the dinosaur had a horn in the front.
Right, because the ride used to be called Countdown to Extinction.
Right.
And then when they put out the dinosaur movie, they changed the name to Dinosaur.
Yeah, but they also changed the dinosaur.
Right, they had to.
The dinosaur had a horn on its nose.
Well, they changed it to the main character of the dinosaur movie, which was an iguanodon.
And no, I'm talking about the bad one. Next time you go down there, you look outside.
Oh, the thing that comes out when they take the...
Yes.
They're like,
okay.
"Wah!"
All right, okay, and even on the outside of the building, they got the bad one up there. And they called it the Great Horned Dinosaur, and and even the toys, everything had the horn on it. And when they decided to get rid of the horn, it was like they erased every trace of it. They removed the horn from the ride, from the dinosaurs, and if you really look closely, you can see where it was. From the toys, from all the recreations.
I wonder why.
Well, I kind of asked why, and I'm not going to go into it now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We are going to go on time.
Okay.
Okay, I thank you very much.
It's
always a pleasure.
Always.
I really, really do appreciate it. Folks,
do something good every day.
That's right, and make the world a better place to be.
Go volunteer at your pet shelter.
I promise that the next shows won't be so...
Emotional.
Emotional.
Or educational.
Depending on your point of view.